Hi, everyone. Just wait for anyone to show up. Hi. I don't see who's there unless you type something in the chat. All I see is that we have one viewer. Can you hear me, Mr. Viewer? All right, I see a like. Thanks. So I have no script for today. You can just start asking anything in the chat. Hi, dear second viewer. Just waiting for someone to show up. A bit more of you. You can start asking anything you want. We have the fourth viewer on this stream. Yay, we have the first question. Yes. So, hi, everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to Democrats, whatever they are. And let's begin. First question. I saw you were creating a public database of RFEs for Review 1A. Why did you stop doing that? It's not really a public database of the RFEs because when I get the RFEs, people don't allow me to share the entire thing. So what I did is I tried to scramble those RFEs, to scrap them for specific achievements that work or don't work. What I've learned from doing that after acquiring 15 of them was that it's very rarely that something repeats, so it's not informative. And when it repeats, it often depends on how long the achievement was held for or some other minor details. So it's not reproducible. You can't just take someone's achievements and if they worked, put them in your petition. So now I have more than that, maybe like 20, 25. Still not informative. So the best advice in that area is just do the best thing you can. Also, those things depend on your timing because as competition rises, they more and more often they just stop counting what worked before. Any other questions? Yay. So we don't have any agenda here. I don't have any surprises here on my sleeve. I don't even have sleeves. So you can just ask whatever you want. And when we run out of questions, we'll just wrap it up. Okay. Is it compulsory to mention the specific pages in exhibits? Exhibit 7 or Exhibit 7, page 24? No, it's not required. I just felt like if I could do that, that would be a little bit better for the reviewer, more convenient. Maybe it could give me extra points if they're on the fence. And I'm a nerd. If I can do that, I just had to do that. That's an advantage of using LaTeX because it does all of that for you. But I've seen just exhibits without page numbers. So officer is supposed to just look up the exhibit by the number. Not really convenient, but again, we don't know how they see page numbers. When they get the petition, they scan it. A separate office scans the petition, and USCIS then views them electronically. So we don't know how the page numbering looks in the officer's tool. Just because my print page reads page number 27 doesn't mean they can navigate to page 27 with their software to see what's there. Could add a shift or like one page, maybe a title page that USCIS adds there for the officer to view, and then all numbering is screwed. We don't know that. Any other questions? Any subject, whatever. I wonder if you have any general advices for B1A that people often overlook, like some stupid things that repeat a lot. Statistically, the most common reason for them turning back the petition is missing your signature in the forms. That's like the most frequent one. Just sign your forms and it should be fine. You'll be better off than a lot of those folks. I can only say what changed from the time when I have written my petition. And the largest change is that competition has increased significantly. So it's very easy to check 3 criteria nowadays that people learned that judging is mostly easy scientific articles. If you just were writing something, you probably should check it. Critical role, pretty much everyone has it from their past, because if you ruled at least some team, managed at least anything, most of your past employers will likely write a letter of recommendation for you. So now that it's easy to check 3 criteria, the most common thing people face is just final merit determination refusal. So they say, yeah, you have 3 criteria, but you're still not in that top percentage of professionals in your field, so bad luck. And what you can do is, well, basically it's the time for just simply time for more genuine cases. It's harder to optimize for B1A, and those who have strong profiles, they feed just the same. Just for those profiles engineered in the last year or two, it's harder for them. But what you can do for that is in your final merit determination, I just have written my biography in simple words and thought that was sufficient, and it was back then. Nowadays, I suggest maybe extracting some bullet points and begin the section with, hey, Mr. Your name has sustained international acclaim because of, and put those bullet points right there. Then expand each of them into a subsection and describe why it proves you are in that small percentage. Because if you just put your plain text, they can be overlooked, those achievements of yours. So you need to just try the best to emphasize them. That's kind of about it. Also, I think officers now try to fail you with. They put more effort in failing you. They just more often discount obvious things that should be counted in your favor. They just abuse more. That's what I see. And to fight that, well, the best advice is to have a stronger case, because the officer, I think they see if the case is worthy in the first few minutes. At least I can see that from proofreading cases. I proofread like maybe 7 of them, 10, and I can already see if I if anything down the road will change my opinion. Officers probably are trained way more than that, so they can see that. Let's just have a stronger case. When considering a sustained claim, how long back should the evidence be from time of filing? Say last evidence was 23 and filing in 27. No one knows that. If they are against you, they can use even 1 year, I guess, because it's not defined formally how far back should they be. Statistics that I know for athletes, it's very critical for them because as they age, they become less promising. I've heard that a year can already cripple the case. Yes, there's no definite time frame on what constitutes sustained, which means they are free to interpret it whatever they want. Do you think it's possible to find any statistics online on the percentage of cases with 3 criteria or more approved but denied on final merits? I wonder how much it increased. I don't think it's possible. Maybe large agencies have that internally. Probably they do. Like, I've heard that the company named We Green has 50,000 approvals, which means they probably have a lot of data, but they won't share it, obviously. We need to set up our own agency to acquire that data from our own statistics. Let's say that was a very rare thing 2 years ago. You would just get an RFE, and when you check 3, very very rarely you would get annoyed. You'll just get approved. So now I think I see noids as frequently as RFEs, maybe a bit more frequently. But again, if you successfully respond to a noid, it will convert to an approval. Any other questions? We have 8 viewers. Hooray! So to anyone who just joined, we have no agenda. You can just ask anything you like, anything you want to know on any subject. Not necessarily B1A, just anything you want. I'll do my best to answer it. And then we're out of it. We'll just terminate the stream. Try to find a Santa hat, but I don't have it, so best I have for you is my regular hat. Maybe this will give you some mood. Thanks. So no one's asking anything else, so go ahead. In your experience, do you advise not so strong evidence should be included to support other strong evidences? Mm, so you should break it down to the criteria, everything you have, and each criterion should potentially be checked or not checked based on the strongest achievement in that criteria, regardless of anything else. Like if you have a strong award and those awards that are in one strong award and a few less strong awards, that strong award should count as if it was the only one, potentially. That's my logic if I was behind that. But we don't know how it works. I haven't seen weak achievements, many weak achievements make up for the weakness. So if you join 10 associations like IEEE, they won't check associations for you. The exception is probably scientific papers, the criterion number 6. Like no, I don't think one strong paper can check it for you, but a lot of moderately cited papers should check it. Has anyone read I-140 related cases published on AIO website? I don't normally do this because that's they are biased. Anything that reached AIO means it was originally denied. So you won't find a lot of things that are approved right away without making it there. So it's only weak stuff is listed there, and even if it was approved, it doesn't give you the whole idea of what works. How's life in Texas? How is the current IT market in the USA? Life in Texas is boring as usual, I would say. Not much of entertainment. People who go to clubs, I don't go to clubs, like nightclubs, they just shut down at 3 a.m., they say, instead of working all night. So Texas is for someone who wants to dedicate themselves to work and not get distracted much. Texas is also kind of warm. On Christmas, it was 28 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, about 80 something, 85. And Texas is the most liberal state. Liberal meaning more liberties, not democratic. You can do a lot of things you can't do elsewhere. I mean, the criteria, let's say I have strong awards, contribution, and critical roles, but just one judging a hackathon. I'm referring to the judging as weak in this case. Well, it depends on how weak it is. I can see that potentially some weak criteria may be detrimental for the petition in general, because the officer thinks, hey, this guy thinks this works. Maybe those criteria that I thought was strong for him, maybe they're also shaky. But again, at some level of strength, even if it probably won't check the criterion, it probably is worth filing it. You just need to look at that, at the specific achievement. So in this hackathon, hackathons are frequently for students, so you need to check the requirements there, and if anyone was allowed, if a lot of people joined, if it was not local but national or international, well, the better this thing, the more likely you should include it. That's kind of obvious. What do you think about red flags for officers? Are there any known, like Globy, that are very bad to include in your case, but they match a criterion? I can only think of IEEE and Globy. Basically, anything you see mentioned in the chat frequently, you should think twice before including that. I don't know. Maybe junk journals. If you're published in journals that accept everyone and publish articles quickly, probably they are in blacklists for officers. But red flags, not sure they have it. I would say supporting letters from countries that are known to exaggerate stuff in their letters. That includes most of all India, then Russia. So you need more letters from elsewhere. With my customers, I specifically recommend dropping all Indian letters. It should legally be okay to get all your acclaim from work in your country, but they will just be very suspicious. Like if you're a top professional, don't have any recognition from anyone else. Anything else? Here we have 4 viewers. When we get down to 3, we can just wrap it up. Damn, I'm holding my cheap pen. I now have an expensive pen. I should hold it instead. Okay, what do you think about the first person versus third person tone in the petition? I most often see third person, which it has a chance of making it look more official because this whole EB something category was invented for employers to bring folks in. So originally they obviously was writing it in the third person because they were writing about their employee. And most petitions are like that. So officers are more used to reading third person. Only us, free warriors, may choose the first person, and it immediately gives out that, hey, I'm not like those. And approval rate for petitions filed by employers is higher than for self-petitioners. So maybe it makes sense to mimic them. Probably a silly question, but do you know if anyone gave good reviews on Oscar scores? I heard this name maybe a few times, but I didn't never look it up. Don't know who it is. Can I still use third person tone without an employer, I suppose? Yeah, obviously. I did that. There's only one section where when you say that you're willing to work in the US, that should be written in first person, I guess, because the requirement is that you have some arrangement or you provide a statement that you're going to work in the US in your field, which means you should write it in the first person. To anyone who just joins, I'm just answering any questions you have in any area of life. Just drop what's on your mind in the chat. Is it super important to have Google Scholar profile for scientific articles criterion? I didn't have this criterion, and I don't have a Google Scholar profile, and I have never written a peer-reviewed article in my life, so I have no idea. It should potentially be better if you have it. But then again, I suppose there is a limit on. You should add articles there as you write them, right? They can't look back and collect citations from before when you edited. Or is it like that or not? So potentially you may have older articles that are not there and citations are not accumulated for them. I don't think it's a problem to describe that as well. For one person I know, he has written not scientifically peer-reviewed papers, but just papers in professional journal. And obviously you won't have Google Scholar there for those kind of articles. But he managed to describe that very well, how hard it is to be published there. So we are waiting for the outcome there. What would you advise if I am in no rush to move to the US? Can I consider filing without paying extra fee? The main problem with filing without premium processing is that by the time they will get to your application, the competition will be even higher. So the primary advantage of premium processing is to get it now rather than a year later when there will be a lot of more candidates, even more than now. Also, we don't know how they're going to change the rules. If I was USCIS, seeing that huge influx in cases, and when I have to make up reasons when writing out annoyeds, I'll just start requiring 4 criteria instead of 3. It's their own regulation. They don't need a Congress approval to switch to 4 criteria. And if things get increasingly more competitive, I think they will probably do it at some point. So there's really not much advantage in filing later. Sometimes they weaken their requirements. The last time it was when, about a year ago, they allowed job offers to be submitted for salary criterion. And before that, you had to actually earn that money before submitting it for this criterion. Nowadays, about a year ago, they changed it so you can just submit your job offer. Hey, I'm offered this job. It's real. Check out this contract. Check out this employer. And they shall already check the salary criterion for you as if you have earned it. But it's not frequent. And even if they loosen up their requirements, formally, they still tighten it up informally. Do you have any general advice about salary criterion? I've seen it rarely accepted. That looks not so hard. You should just, it all depends on what your papers say. The very straightforward case is if you are just an employee working on W-2 or whatever, just in staff, not a contractor. You have regular salary, you have it on your bank account, you work as an individual, not as your own company, like C2C. And you have a straightforward occupation that can be compared to official sources for industry median salary. Should be pretty easy. You can get complicated. You can get complicated if you have a weird case, like one person I know worked as a contractor through his own company, and the employment verification letters had a title that didn't match what was in the contract. Like, what the contract is one thing, and then employment verification letter is something else, similar but not word to word. Then also his company, he co-owned it with his wife, and so the officer said, "There's no proof that money went directly to you. You co-own this company." So he tried to fight and argue the best he could. We'll see how it works. The advice on salary criterion: just be simple. All right, someone dropped out. Yeah. You should gather everything you have. You have your contract, you have probably an employment verification letter, get anything. You have your support letter from your employer for critical role. Make sure he mentions your job duties that match what you aim to be in your field. So those three ones you can potentially, ideally they should match, and you can get a letter from HR to as a fourth proof of your occupation. Ideally they should all match, but if they don't, you can just say this one is true, and others are just for formal reasons. We can't. They're just standard as how company does these things. So when you will be writing your criterion for salary, you can just try to make a section that specifically proves that this money is for work in this field, and then quote those letters that are closest to this title. Like if the letter from HR is closest, quote it. If the letter from if support letter from the employer that you got for critical role criterion is the closest, then just quote that. Again, not legal advice. None of this is legal advice. I keep taking my light pen because it's light. This one is heavy. Subconsciously, I just put it away. Why? Okay. Any other questions? We're now up to 4 viewers again, so I'm accepting more questions. All right. Yeah, I purchased a Parker pen in 2014 the first time, then I lost it in 3 years. Then I bought a new one and lost it again. And I like this model very much, but they are no longer produced. So I managed to find one on a website that sells discontinued pens. So I love it. This one is for like 50 cents. Okay, we have no more questions. Then Happy New Year. Happy holidays to Democrats. See you next year. Bye, everyone. How do I finish this? Oh, end stream. All right. Oh, how do you estimate the completion in the EB pool? Do you think more people are applying now than before? Just Google EB1A statistics. It will show you. It's very, very intricate pages. I don't have it on top of my head. I have different reports, quarterly reports, reports of what's pending now, reports of what was approved before. Every time I need that, I just Google that and try my best to find out. Okay. Yeah. Now, bye, everyone.